Well, over the past month or so, we looked at the Quatermass films. We looked at the Quatermass Experiment, Quatermass 2, The Enemy from Space or something.
And Quatermass and the Pit.
Quatermass in the Pit, yes.
And then we saw the series, the Quatermass series, too.
We saw Quatermass 3, which was the 1979 miniseries. We haven't done a review on that one yet, officially.
Really good.
I think the 1979 was 4-hour-long miniseries was the best of the Quatermass, period. Then we also saw the 2005 remake with
Actors.
young guy. A bunch of young British people that you'll still remember. David Tennant was in it as one of the doctors, but he was not the main,
role.
but he was not the main guy.
And Sherlock's brother in Sherlock.
Yeah.
That actor.
A lot of people you'll recognize.
I can't remember the name of the main guy.
But
played
the thing
Quatermass.
yeah.
Quatermass.
It's got a J in it.
Okay. It was more well. They did it live, and
that was the neat thing about it. It was live.
That was neat, knowing that they were on the air doing this live like a play. But the special effects were kind of
Jason Fleming.
Jason Fleming, yes. He was.
Told you had a J in it.
He was Quatermass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was done live. It was all done in one take, live on TV. It was an hour-and-a-half movie. They moved from one scene to another with different characters. It was, for a live performance, it was very well done. Yeah. As far as the story goes, it was the same story as the 1955
but not
experiment.
done as well. with
we
fewer,
made fun of the
fewer
rubber.
special
We made
effects.
fun of the rubber monster in 1955, but at least they had a monster. In 2005, it was all in your head because live.
Oh, it's incorporated itself into the walls of the building, and it's a big empty warehouse.
So he gives a big long speech to the wall.
So he's talking. He's literally talking to a big empty room.
Okay, but anyway, we did not
anyway,
do official
we diverged.
reviews of those.
So anyway, here we are, X the Unknown.
X the Unknown, which is not
1956.
even a Quatermass film, technically.
Quintermass. No.
Now you're being goofy.
Yes, I am.
X the Unknown from 1956, directed by Leslie Norman and Joseph Losey, written by Jimmy Sangster, and stars Dean Jagger, Edward Chapman, and Leo McKern, hour and 21 minutes. Now this was written by Jimmy Sangster as Quatermass movie number 3, I believe. Maybe it was number 2.
But the problem was that he forgot to check with Nigel Neal,
who was the creator of the character,
who wrote the others.
He said, "No, that's
and
mine."
he said, "No, I'm the writer of those, and you're not the writer of those." And he said, "No."
So they took the script, they saw all the words where it said Quatermass, and put in
those
Royston.
And wrote in Dr. Adam Royston instead.
So if you ever seen, like, Star Trek with all the characters' names, fan fiction where they've changed all the character names, it's this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was,
After seeing the others, it was like obvious.
Oh, it was obviously a Quatermass film. They just changed the guy's name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soldiers are out practicing with their Geiger counters to find radioactive slugs for practice. The last soldier is out searching, and he finds some radiation that isn't supposed to be there.
And it's getting stronger, and the ground is starting to shake.
Of course, they're all just learning this stuff, so nobody believes him.
Yeah.
The mud starts to boil, and they all suddenly hear thunder. The ground opens up and eats the man.
Well, he falls in. It doesn't really eat him, but yeah.
Dr. Adam Royston, Quatermass, is building a device, obviously made with an erector set, that moves tritium samples.
Some of it was, literally.
Oh, very clearly,
the lab equipment.
Have you ever seen one of those metal erector sets from NASA? I don't know,
from
they stopped making them in the
1956,
80s, I think.
Yeah, they were around in 1956. Yeah, it clearly was. Yeah,
maybe that was futuristic then.
He's handling this super radioactive thing. He's standing behind a glass lead shield. And it's a little crane thing that goes across the ceiling, and a little arm comes down and opens a lid, grabs the sample, and brings it up and runs it across the room. And
probably a completely legitimate device that somebody made for the movie.
Oh, yeah, and it
thought
worked.
It was just cool enough to use it.
And it was cool because it was a working prop. But, erector set. Yeah.
And this thing moves tritium samples around and may be able to neutralize radiation. And that's what but he should be working on his lab, not working on this thing. His boss then asks him to check out this thing that the Army has run into, and he heads right over.
Strange radioactivity.
There's no radiation at all in the field where it was before. But some of the soldiers have radiation burns on
Yeah,
them.
I was just going to say, yeah, clearly radiation burns, so something's up.
Yeah, they bring out the big equipment to figure out what happened, and all that's left is a deep fissure in the ground.
Very deep.
2 young boys are playing in the nearby woods that night, and one boy, Willie, sees something horrible. He goes to the doctor in the morning and has radiation burns.
And I just want to throw in that I thought that was a really effective scene because we don't see the creature. Mm-hmm. It's just from the creature's point of view and seeing the kid react to the creature. And I thought that was really effectively done.
The other boy tells Royston where they went and where to go look. Royston checks out the old tower where the boy was injured, and he finds an old man cooking with a still. He finds the old man has a radiation bottle that should have been in his own lab, and it turns out his lab was broken into earlier that very evening.
And the bottle is empty, and all the radioactive
The thing that he was picking
gone.
up with the erector set was fully radiation.
So deadly that it would kill you, within minutes if you pick it up. Completely.
And the old man just picks it up, and he's like drinking out of it.
Yeah, and Royston's freaking out. Like, no, don't touch that. It's completely inert.
Yeah. All the radiation from the tritium bottle has vanished. Mm-hmm. The door and the windows of the lab were barred, so how could anyone get in there? What happened to the not radioactive bottle?
Yeah, it's all smashed. The lab's all smashed up, but everything was still locked.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did this happen?
Inspector McGill from the police shows up to investigate the break-in. He wants to work with Royston to solve the mystery. Meanwhile, the little boy Willie dies. Mm-hmm. The radiation room in the hospital starts activating on its own, and the technician sees it.
Oh, X-ray. It was an X-ray machine.
Well, they just called it radiation room in the hospital, but yeah, it was an X-ray machine.
Yeah, and the X-ray, the radioactive source. Yeah, the power source.
It melts the radiation tech like a wax figure.
Yeah, which was a kind of neat effect.
It was a wax figure, but still.
Well, yeah. But
they soon find that someone has stolen all the radium from the machine. Mm-hmm. Something is obviously stealing radiation sources. Royston suggests that the mysterious creature can assume any form at once and says that it came in through the air vent in liquid form. He's right, but that's kind of a big jump.
Well, he's kind of just,
he's like the monster expert.
He's a very smart guy, and he's looking at what possibilities there are, and he doesn't say, doesn't present it as this is what happened. He said, well, this is my idea, and if you got a better one, jump in and correct me, and nobody really does.
and at this point, we haven't seen the monster yet.
No.
One of the guards at the field where this all started is killed that night. The other guard shoots the unknown creature a bunch of times before he's killed as well.
Yeah, bullets don't
Could
have
it
any
be
effect.
coming out of that fissure? It could.
And going back to it at night.
Royston,
after it feeds. Yeah.
Royston believes an intelligent species from the center of the Earth has evolved alongside humanity. But since their world is collapsing from geologic pressure, because, the Earth is getting heavier.
Yeah, over millions of years, it's gotten compressed, and these creatures or thing has been trapped underground all this time, and it finally worked its way up.
It's had enough.
Yeah.
But since their world is collapsing from geologic pressure,
Wants
they're being
food.
forced to the surface now.
It's run out of radioactive goodies downstairs, so it's nice concentrated sources that it's homing in on up at the surface. Yum-yums.
Radiation monster gotta eat.
Yum-yums, yeah.
Royston wants someone to go down in that fissure and look around. Peter, one of Royston's assistants, goes way down deep in the hole, and finds one of the skeletons of the soldiers that was on guard duty earlier.
Way down in the hole.
The Geiger counter suddenly goes crazy, and it comes after him. They
That
pull
was
him up, and he explains what he saw.
Really good. It was a good scene.
Yeah, you thought it was going to get him.
And you thought it was. Yeah.
The military then decides to fill in the hole with concrete. Problem solved.
And Royston saying, well,
Dug out of the center of the earth. 5 feet of concrete's not going to stop it.
Concrete's not going to matter much.
Royston asks, how do you kill mud? That's all this is radioactive mud.
Yeah, basically it's cohesive. Yeah, mud over millions of years has become intelligent. Yeah.
Royston is working on a beam that will neutralize radioactivity. Sure enough, the creature breaks out of the concrete with no effort at all. Mm-hmm. Royston and Peter are removing the nuclear core from their reactor, and the monster shows up after killing 4 more people in a car.
Oh, they figure out he looks at a map, and there's straight lines from the radioactive sources back to the fissure, and they look and what's the strongest radiation, in this, immediate area, and they find, this big old reactor, which is a ways away, but strong. And so they're in the process of taking the core, trying to move the core further away when it comes out and heads, beeline for them. And
It attacks the base, steals their cobalt, and escapes.
pretty good special effects,
But
too.
they all get a good look at it. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Blob.
The Blob.
The Blob, before the Blob. Or was it after the Blob?
The movie The Blob came out the following year.
Okay, yeah.
These guys may have heard about that and stole the idea, or maybe the Blob borrowed from this. It's very, very similar, very, very close together.
The Blob ate meat. This eats radioactivity and kills people if they get in the way. But, it's not
The effect is the same.
It's not primarily after people.
It's a blob.
But it likes the radioactivity. Yeah.
They evacuate the area in the creature's path back to the fissure. This time, though, the creature takes a different path, which confuses everyone. They now believe it's heading for a full nuclear power station, which will plunge the country into darkness. Meanwhile, Royston has perfected his device to neutralize the radiation, but while testing it, the sample explodes. Little tiny sample, great big explosion.
Yeah.
What is this giant house-sized monster going to blow up into?
Size of the grain of sand, and it blows up the room.
Yeah, so they're afraid, what could go wrong?
Like, well, maybe it was just out of sync, and they're like, okay, well, we got to try it. Like, they realize they don't have much choice. They got to try it.
They think it was simply the scanners being misaligned, and that it probably won't happen again.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
They bring a giant set of scanners to the fissure and wait for the creature.
Mm-hmm.
They
Set a
lure it
booby
out of the
trap.
hole and turn on the scanners.
Booby trap.
Will it work? Will it explode and kill all of England? No, it just dies.
It dies. Yeah. Happy ending.
This was clearly written to take advantage of the Cold War's fear of radiation, which was a very common theme in the 50s. There's not much else to be fearful of here. There is some resemblance to The Blob, which came out the following year, in color no less.
Mm-hmm.
The version we saw was extremely sharp, obviously a restored edition, but still black and white.
Mm-hmm.
This was written to be the next Quatermass movie. Yeah, we've already been through all this. It went right onto the script. There were no changes other than the name. It had the same tone and mood as the other films, even though it's completely unofficial as a Quatermass movie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see the list of Quatermasses, this may or may not be on it, depending on who wrote the list.
Yeah. All in all, I think I give it a solid 7. I like that.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Black and white takes away, but it was a
Well,
nice. It was a
little
good
bit.
looking black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could we see?
So I'd give that one a solid middle of the Quatermasses,
Yeah.
if you want to even throw it in there.
Yeah.